Hello, I'm Anderson Pedrassa, and in this video I'm going to share with you how we can leverage the cloud provisioning tool and the ZOS management facility, OSMF, to in a DevOps or cloud environment to instantiate, to create a new CICS region. So you see here I am already logged at the OSMF. Here I have this menu. So inside cloud provisioning, software services, and I need to share credit for this environment and for this demo with Marcel Amrein, so my CICS mentor at IBM Germany. Uh, so I'm going to show you uh, how easy it is to request, like in this cloud self-service environment, the creation of a new CICS region. So this CICS region can be temporary and can be good for developers to test new applications, to do their integration tests or their unit tests, executing COBOL programs that are running CICS transactions. So here I'm going to select this template. It's a template that it consists of a workflow. So a series of steps and JCL, so jobs that are going to be submitted on the JAS, on ZOS, to then create CICS infrastructure, so the CICS objects, data sets, the initial configuration for this new CICS region. So you know that the alternative to this is to request for a system programmer, a ZOS or CICS system programmer, to create this new environment. But with this scenario, we are going to select actions and then run. So we can have, as part of the workflow, the opportunity for the user to select or to enter additional information. So for instance, if we were running a template to create a CICSplex definition, we would need to provide further information. But since we are interested at this point in just the CICS region, and for this lab purposes, was created just the opportunity to select what tenant. So my user is restricted to the South department or to the South development department or internal organization. So this is all I need to provide at this point. So please consider that the internals, the everything that runs inside this provisioning tool. So now that this instance has started, I can see here for CICS that I have a new instance that was provisioned. So as you remember, we selected that I am part of the South Development Department, and this was kicked off, and it finished already. So now I have a CICS region, and this workflow lasted just 1 minute and 20 seconds. And here we can see additional information. So my user, I am the owner for this region, but I am executing a workflow that was provided by Marcel, by another user. So now we can see this list of variables that were used by this workflow, by this template. And you see there are lots of variables that are fixed. So the content is literal. For instance, the high-level qualifier, some parameters, or the VSAM, the disk units that are going to be used. But there are other variables that are dynamic. So for instance, the HTTP for the region can be variable, can be taken from a pool of available resources. So the same happening, for instance, with the port number for, let's say, for HTTP, or the application ID. So here you see the port for HTTPS. This was dynamically provided or dynamically obtained by the provisioning workflow. So now we can see the effect this had on a real ZOS LPAR. So I am here at the first screen, ISPF for TSO, and I'm going to use 13.14 to go directly to SDSF. And from here, I have this preview listing all the CICS. So I can do this to filter just the job names that start with CICS or CIC. And here I see my new region. So since I am part of the South development team, or I'm part of that internal organization, and just as considering the purposes of this lab, the CICS region created takes into consideration that selection that the user did in terms of what is the tenant. And now I have the S letter, meaning I'm part of the South team, the South development team. And here you have a different CICS started task running, and this was created for another user that belongs to the North development team. So now we can see that this region was started. So we see here the application ID for this CICS region was dynamically obtained. And please consider that if another user requested or started the creation of the instantiation of a new CICS region, probably it would take the next sequential number available in the pool of sequential numbers that are used to assemble the application ID. So at this point, I could, for instance, find what is, or confirm what is the application ID I have here, and using in this case, host on demand as 3270 emulator, I can start a new terminal and log on into the application ID that was created for a South, or for a user from the South development team. And here I'm using the VTEM application ID, and now my user and password. And I am now inside the CICS region that was created for me. I can, for instance, issue the CEMT, a very important, as you know, a very important transaction for CICS maintenance, and I can inquire about the region I am using, and I can see that the last initialization time is from minutes ago. So this is a region, this is the region that was provisioned to myself, to this user, and this can be a temporary region. So now we can see with the IDZ, IBM Developer for ZOS, with the CICS Explorer, we can see that inside this demoplex we have our CICS region. So here we can issue, we can find, we can search for demoplex just to confirm, and indeed this region that was created belongs to this demoplex CICSplex and to the CPLX CMAS, so the CICS service management. So we see here this demoplex being part of the server CPLX. So now we can continue with the next step and see that it is possible to execute with this instance another workflow, to start to run another workflow. And this example is a workflow to stop the CICS region. So I'll go ahead and execute this stop. I will perform this stop workflow. So I can see the workflow now running. And you see the steps here. So first we check if the CICS region is active. Then we try to perform a normal CICS shutdown with equivalent to the letter P to stop the STC. So you can see here the steps that are being performed. Please consider that this workflow has been configured to be deleted as soon as it finishes, as soon as it completes. So I was able to see the workflow running, but in the next moment, since the steps, the content of the workflow was removed, I could not see the details anymore. So now if we go to SDSF, we see that our STC, our started task, is not running. So it finished. So we can see here it was stopped by the workflow, and now we can execute the other workflow to have it restarted. So now, affecting the same instance, we can execute the workflow that will start this CICS region. So we can see here the steps of this workflow being executed, checking if the file system is mounted, starting the CICS region itself, and you see that we can observe that the state is changing for these steps. And if I refresh at this moment, I cannot see the workflow anymore because it has been already deleted. But at COS or with SDSF, I can see that this CICS region was just restarted. So finally, I want to show you that we have again this CICS region up. So the started task, the region is working, and we see that the last action performed was a start complete. So the corresponding template or workflow was successfully executed. So the last thing we can do now is to perform a deprovision. So the deprovision, as you can imagine, will destroy this CICS region, and that is that is one of the principles of a cloud environment. So the ability to fast provision and deprovision resources, to allocate and then deallocate, to create as in this self-service fashion, to create and then release the resources. So the resources would be allocated just during the time needed for the tests, or performance tests, stress tests, or to do integration tests in a quality assurance environment. So you see here that the steps were being executed. This was, as you know, a picture when we first started the template, the workflow. And at this point, if I ask to see how it is, I no longer see. I cannot even see that it has finished successfully, not within this view at least. But if I come here to see the instance, I can see that the deprovision was completed, and it took 41 seconds to destroy the instance. So we can see again here using SDSF that our started task, our corresponding started task, was stopped. And as you can imagine, I can no longer log on. I hope I cannot log on to that application ID anymore because it was destroyed. So in this short video, I wanted to share with you how it is possible to leverage the workflows inside COS management facilities, OSMF, and in this scenario to instantiate a new CICS region in 2 minutes. You understand, I suppose, that most of the job has been done previously in terms of creating the workflow, having the security aspects with RACF, and a pool of resources such as ports for HTTP, a pool of the sequential numbers that were used to be part of the application ID of the CICS regions that are being provisioned. So I hope you have enjoyed this video. My name is Anderson Pedrassa. You can contact me with this email, anderson.c@ibm.com. Thank you very much for watching. See you.